Hey there, YouTube. Today I want to do a little review on my Schwinn Axum. It's a 29-inch wheel, 2.6-inch tires, 35mm wide rim, inside width. I have a Bafang BBSO2 750 watt mid drive, 48 volt battery, 44 tooth front sprocket. The rear is all stock. It's an 11 through 40 cassette. It has mechanical disc brakes, which I love. These things work awesome. It's a 160 rotor in the back and a 180 in the front. The things that aren't stock are, of course, the bottom bracket mid drive. I have a gear sensor installed in the shift cable. What that does is it stops motor power while you're shifting. It senses the cable moving. My kit came with a headlight, so I installed that on the front, on the fork arch. I replaced the stem. This is a, I believe, 45mm wake and up and 50mm rise bars. This is a cell phone mount that I got from Walmart. It's like $7 and it's excellent. Clamps on, easy to rotate, but it doesn't just rotate on its own. Of course, I have the display for the mid drive. That's a P850C. The forks, they're the original Axum, and I'm going to keep them. I don't mind a Springer fork. I'm not going to be jumping. It works good. I have no complaints with it. These tires are the original. They came on it, 2.6. They're like a cross-country style tread. They work good for my purposes. I added a bottle rack, of course, and I added a rack off of my old cruiser bike. There's a rack mount on the rear dropouts, but nothing on the top of the seat stay. So I'm going to have to get a clamp, like a split clamp that I can mount on here and put mounting points for that. Right now I just have a cut off piece of an old Schwinn rack supporting the front, and I need that to carry my battery. It's 20 amp hour. This thing weighs 13 pounds. And I have it inside of a Bosch tool bag. 1 inch of padding, foam padding all the way around. And I love it. I had this kit on a different bike, on a cruiser bike, and I liked it on there, but the bike just didn't pedal as good as I thought it could, and it didn't have any shocks, and it had narrow road wheels, and I was getting pinch flats. This bike, complete with my bag, my pannier bag, I don't know if, yeah, you can see it up on top of the sawhorses back there. This weighs 71 pounds, so it's not a lightweight. And these wide wheels, the wide rims, they help stop pinch flats. Pedals, they're off of a cheap Walmart bike that was laying around. They were the grippiest choice that I had. For me, this is an adventure bike. Not to go out trail riding, jumps and all that, but to get out on those trails and ride and be out in nature, go fishing, do whatever you want. Just get you off-road, out of public. It works nice for that. With the 1140, I have no problem climbing hills, and I can get 28.5 miles per hour on a flat ground with throttle only. And I can get well over 30 miles an hour with pedal effort. Very minimal pedal effort. For somebody like me whose joints are beat up and don't work quite as well as they used to, the e-bike is a great way to stay on a bike. I still have the stock seat. I didn't think it would be comfortable at all, but I love this thing. Without padded shorts, it's still comfortable. The stock grips, on the other hand, are horrible. They're terrible. They're hard, and they just cause no end of hand pain. Range. Range really depends on how you ride. I went on a ride with my wife this past weekend that was relatively flat. I mean, it had some rises, and she was on her acoustic bike, you know, with no motor. So for me to stay with her, I was in assist level 1 of 9. And over a 20-mile ride, I used 2 volts from my battery. You know, and that means at that pace, I could have easily gone 80 miles. You know, and I'm 250 pounds myself, and the bike is 71 pounds. I really like it. It's easy to pedal even with the mid-drive. You know, you can tool around in that 40-tooth rear on assist level 1, and the motor's really giving you no assist, and you can ride 10 miles an hour quite easy. There's nothing in the design of the bike that I don't like. My only real nitpicks about it are the ergonomics of some of the items. This came with a flat bar with very little back sweep and a 60mm stem, which put me way hunched over, and all my upper body weight was on my hands. So I put the 50mm rise bars, a shorter stem, and what that allows is for me to sit up straighter and have less weight on the bars. And these have 9 degrees of back sweep, where the originals, the stock ones, were less than 5, I'm sure. It's still a work in progress. Like I said, I still have some work to do on the back rack. I still have to finalize something for that. I need a waterproof case for the battery, because the last thing you want is a soaking wet lithium battery. But really, that's all I'd really change. I do have the Fang brake cutout brake levers. I'm considering going to one single lever that does front and back, just to get some clutter off the bars. You know, there's a lot going on up here. We have the brake, the shifter, cell phone, display, display control, brake, throttle, you know. But I would have to integrate a brake cutoff switch into those. These are really nice. They shut motor power off anytime you have the brakes on. And these motors are powerful. This one's rated at 120 Newton meters. That's 88 foot-pounds. I have my specialized under-seat bag. It's off my overrock hopper. This bike has quick release front and rear. Just regular 100 millimeter, 135 millimeter spacings. The rear can be made to work with 142 millimeter spacing. The axle, whatever. I don't have a need for that. The 12 millimeter quick release axle is plenty for me. One thing I had to do was I had to file and grind off the back of the case on my mid-drive. It's hard to see, but the reduction housing for the gear reduction is behind the sprocket, and these chain stays jump out so far that I would have had to space my bottom bracket out by at least 3 millimeter, and that would really mess up the chain line. So I filed a little bit off the back of the reduction housing, and that allowed me to slide it in all the way with no spacers, and that gives me a perfect chain line. My chain line is centered between 4th and 5th gear in the rear, and so far it's been working out flawless. These bikes have a 73 millimeter bottom bracket, so there wasn't much room to put spacers on. These mid-drives here, the BBS02, the one I have, only fits a 68 to 73 millimeter bottom bracket. There's a lock nut, there's a main nut on the other side that mounts the mid-drive axle, and then there's a lock nut that goes over top of that and locks against it. Well, if you use a spacer on the drive side, there's no room to put this outside lock nut on, and I didn't really trust that it would stay without it, so I really didn't want to space it out, and I wanted my chain line to be right. But yeah, overall I'm super happy with this. It works great. I did have one failure when the kit was on my other bike. The display burned up. So the only way to keep the system working was to hold the power button down non-stop. I guess there's a transistor in here that burned up. I got this kit from Amazon, a seller by the name of Junestar, and I found out that while they have stock in the US, all their customer service is in China. So in order to get warranty, you have to email back and forth with them, and they're in China, so they're 12 hours off from us. That means they'll email you in the middle of the night. They don't even do it first thing in the morning, which is like our 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. No, they usually wait till end of day, 4:30. So that adds to the lead time of getting anything replaced through them. But the other option is, you buy from somebody in the US like Lunacycle or California Ebike. And now here's where it gets a little messy. With Lunacycle or California Ebike, just the motor kit, the motor, the wiring, and a display costs the same as what I paid for the motor, the wiring, the display, and a 20 amp hour battery. And Lunacycle is about the same. But you get nothing different from them. If you buy just a motor from them with the wiring and display, you get nothing different. Lunacycle will put their name on a display. You know, when you turn it on, it'll pop up and say Luna. But other than that, there's no difference. You get no instructions. When you need tech support, you contact them and you wait for a response. You tell them more about your problem and you wait for a response, and then they're always out of stock. You know, they'll tell you that you're paying for the support and the greatest warranty support, but really you're not. You get very little for your money with them. The parts are the same, you know, for the basic conversion kits. You know, now they have some custom bikes with the integrated motors. You know, there's some difference there between them and other sellers, but for the BBSO2B, it's no different. The motor's the same, the programming's the same, the displays are the same. The only difference is with Lunacycle, you get their name, comes up on your screen. California Ebike, I wouldn't recommend them to anybody. They're pretty clueless. When my display failed, I wanted to order a new button. I wasn't sure if it was just a power button or the display, so I figured I would order a button because it would be nice to have a spare anyway. So I went online, they had it in stock, I ordered it, I paid for it. 5 days later, they sent me a tracking number, told me it shipped. 2 hours later, they emailed me back that they don't have it in stock. Would I like a refund? You know, I can't abide that. There's no way. So I wouldn't recommend them. And their motor kits are the same way. For their bare motor with no wiring and no controller, it's what I paid for the motor kit with the controller, or with the display and the wiring. So yeah, I say just go on Amazon and buy the Fang kit from a seller on there and cut out the middleman. It's only doubling the price. I mean, I do have to say that their batteries at Lunacycle are probably more trustworthy, but I really don't believe Lunacycle's support is worth much. I deal with them on message boards, and they're just argumentative with their customers for support. But overall, you know, the Axum, I love it. And the mid-drive kit, I love it. And the big reasons I went for the Axum is frame size. I'm 6'7". And it fits me good. And the wheels, the rims. the reduced pinch flats from the 35mm wide rims, unbeatable. Like I said, I can't say enough about how much I love the brakes on this. They get a lot of flack, and a lot of people say they don't work, and they're comparing them to the hydraulics on a top-line mountain bike, to where, if you're wanting to do stoppies, they can modulate the pressure, where at the $400 price point you don't really expect to need to do that. They stop you plenty fine. When your brain tells you it's time to brake, you have plenty of time. You're actually going to be letting off, before you truly need to stop. So they work. Anyway, just a little review on the bike and the mid-drive. Thanks for watching.